The Tragic Case of Julio Foolio's Murder. Introduction. In the world of music, there are many stars who rise to fame because of their incredible talent. One such star was Julio Foolio, a drill rapper from Jacksonville, Florida. Unfortunately, his bright light was tragically dimmed when he was murdered in 2024. The case of Julio Foolio's murder shocked the world, and the story of how his killers were brought to justice is both heartbreaking and eye-opening. Today, we will take a deep dive into the entire tragic case, from Foolio's rise to fame, his untimely death, to the eventual sentencing of those responsible. Julio Foolio, born Charles Jones, grew up in the tough streets of Jacksonville. From a young age, Foolio was surrounded by the harsh realities of life in the inner city, including crime, poverty, and violence. Despite these challenges, he found solace in music. By the time he was a teenager, Foolio had started to write his own rap songs, using music as a way to express his feelings and experiences. Foolio's music was raw and real, resonating with many people who had similar experiences. His lyrics often spoke about the struggles of life in Jacksonville and the dangerous world of gang violence that many young men like him faced daily. His unique style and honest lyrics quickly caught the attention of music fans in Jacksonville and beyond. Soon, Foolio was gaining recognition as one of the most promising young rappers in the drill music scene. While Foolio's music brought him fame, it also brought danger. The drill music scene is known for its association with violence and gang activity. Many drill rappers, like Foolio, use their music to talk about their lives, which often includes stories of rival gangs, street battles, and personal loss. Unfortunately, this also means that drill rappers often find themselves involved in real-life feuds that can have deadly consequences. Foolio's lyrics were no exception. His songs often referenced his own experiences with gang violence and the dangerous lifestyle he grew up in. This made him a target for rival gangs who felt threatened or disrespected by his music. Foolio was aware of the risks, but he continued to make the music that he felt reflected his truth. June 23, 2024, started out like any other day for Julio Foolio. He had been working on new music and was preparing for an upcoming show. But what he didn't know was that a group of people had set out with a deadly mission: to take his life. That evening, as Foolio was leaving a recording studio in Tampa, a group of 5 individuals, later identified as Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Geet, Rashad Murphy, and Davin Murphy, ambushed him. The attackers were armed and had planned everything down to the last detail. They approached Foolio with guns drawn and, in a tragic moment, opened fire. Foolio, only 26 years old, was killed instantly. The news of Foolio's death spread quickly, and fans across the country were devastated. Social media was flooded with messages of grief and disbelief. Many couldn't understand why someone with so much talent and potential had been taken so soon. The murder of Julio Foolio was a heartbreaking reminder of the dangers that come with fame in the drill music scene. Immediately after the murder, the Tampa Police Department launched a full-scale investigation to find Foolio's killers. The case was complex, involving multiple suspects and a web of connections to gang activity in Jacksonville. However, the police were determined to bring those responsible to justice. One of the first breakthroughs in the investigation came when police reviewed social media activity linked to the murder. The suspects, all from Jacksonville, had been posting suspicious messages online before and after the crime. The police also found surveillance footage that showed the suspects arriving in Tampa shortly before the murder. This evidence was crucial in identifying the 5 individuals involved. The police worked closely with their partners in Jacksonville, gathering intelligence and piecing together the events leading up to Foolio's death. As the investigation continued, more and more evidence pointed to the involvement of Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Geet, and the Murphy brothers. On July 25, 2024, just over a month after Foolio's murder, the police made their move. In a series of coordinated raids, they arrested Isaiah Chance, Alicia Andrews, Sean Geet, Rashad Murphy, and Davin Murphy. The suspects were charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The police also found weapons and other evidence that linked the group to the crime. During their court hearings, the evidence against the suspects was overwhelming. Court documents revealed that Isaiah Chance had been wearing a tracking monitor at the time of the murder, as he was already under investigation for another crime. He had even told a detective that once he got off the monitor, he planned to flee the state and disappear forever. A judge denied bail for Chance, Andrews, and Jeet, stating that there was a substantial probability that they had committed the crime they were charged with. The Murphy brothers, who had been on the run for a short time, were also denied bail once they were captured. The trial of Julio Foolio's killers was one of the most closely watched cases in recent years. The courtroom was packed with journalists, family members, and fans of the late rapper, all waiting to see how justice would be served. In the end, all 5 suspects were found guilty of first-degree murder. The judge handed down the maximum sentence, life in prison without the possibility of parole. Even those who did not pull the trigger were given life sentences, as Florida law allows for harsh penalties for anyone involved in planning a murder, even if they didn't directly carry out the act. The sentencing of Julio Foolio's killers brought some sense of closure to his family and fans, but it also left many questions unanswered. Why did these young people feel the need to commit such a terrible crime? Could Foolio's death have been prevented? And what does this case say about the broader issues of violence and gang activity in the drill music scene? For many, Foolio's death was a wake-up call. It highlighted the dangers that come with fame in a world where street credibility is often tied to violence. It also showed the devastating impact that gang violence can have on individuals, families, and communities. The story of Julio Foolio's murder is a tragic one, filled with sorrow and loss. But it is also a story of justice, as those responsible for his death were eventually brought to account for their actions. As we remember Foolio for his music and his talent, we must also remember the lessons that his story teaches us about the dangers of violence and the importance of working towards a safer, more peaceful world. In the end, Julio Foolio's legacy will live on through his music, even as we continue to mourn the loss of a young life taken far too soon.